it's time to say hello. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me, Miss Abby, for virtual story time here at the Millbrook Library. This week, we are reading The Story of Kwanzaa, written by Donna L. Washington and illustrated by Stephen Taylor. And we're reading today's book with permission from the publisher, HarperCollins. So, let's get started. So here's our cover. Looks like we have a family. And by the title, we know they're celebrating Kwanzaa. We've got our title page. And if you notice on the title page, we have something that looks very similar to what I have. So let's learn about that. And here we actually have the dedication page. This book is dedicated to my mother. She taught me how to make dreams live. And that's from the author, Donna Washington. And Stephen Taylor, the illustrator, says, this book is dedicated to my family and friends and all the souls who made this whole process materialize. And here we've got a bunch of food. Kwanzaa time has come at last. Now it is time to light the candles on the kinara. So that's what this is called, kinara. It is time to fly the bendera, listen to old stories from Africa, wear African clothes, and eat good food. It is time to make gifts for friends and celebrate the good things in all people. Kwanzaa is not a religious holiday like Hanukkah or Christmas. Kwanzaa is an American festival that honors African America. It starts on December 26th, the day after Christmas. It is a time when we stop and remember the past as we work together for the future. So, the history. Some of our ancestors came from Africa. They were proud and beautiful people. Some of them lived in great kingdoms. Their rulers wore ivory, gold, and precious stones. They were great warriors. Some of them lived in smaller family groups. They traveled together with their livestock. Some lived in small villages or in the rainforests. They worshipped their own gods and had their own festivals and holy days. They made music and art and told the stories of their ancestors. When the Europeans came to Africa, all of that changed. So we're starting with the history of Kwanzaa. Many of the Africans were captured and taken away on ships. They did not know where they were being taken or what was going to happen to them. When they reached land, they were sold as slaves. Much of their traditions and history were lost. The enslaved Africans created new traditions and they made up new stories. Many of their stories were about a very smart rabbit. Bruh, shortened from brother, or Brer Rabbit, was very small and always in trouble. Brer Rabbit did not use his muscle to escape his enemies. He used his brain. These stories were really about the slaves and the slave owners. The enslaved Africans fought against slavery in many ways. In their stories, they spoke of freedom. In their churches, they sang beautiful spirituals about freedom. They even stole away north to freedom. And so here it looks like we have an elder talking to some younger folks, maybe sharing a story about Brer Rabbit. As time passed, many Americans began to see that slavery was wrong. America divided into two parts. In the northern part of the country, many people were against slavery. In the southern part, many people favored it. In the north, the people worked in factories and used machines. They did not need slave labor. In the south, the enslaved Africans worked on huge farms called plantations. So that's what this is right here. That's what our illustration is of. The southern farmers worried that if slavery ended, there would be no one to work in their fields. The north and south grew less and less friendly with each other. When Abraham Lincoln became president, the southern states feared he would tell them to free the slaves. They decided to secede from or leave the Union. They wanted to be their own country. America had a civil war. At the end of the war, the North and South reunited. Slavery was outlawed. The Africans were finally free. The African Americans were free, but they did not have many of the civil rights offered to other Americans. Civil rights are the basic freedoms that every citizen in our country has. These rights were won for African Americans through the civil rights movement. Because of the work of many people, African Americans have the right to vote, attend any school or college, get good jobs, live where they want, and sit anywhere they choose. Each new right was won only after great struggles. In 1966, a man named Dr. Maulana Karenga was one of the people involved in the civil rights movement. As part of his fight for African America, he created a festival. He called this festival Kwanzaa. The 7 days of Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa is a word that comes from Swahili. It means first fruits. It is a celebration of the bounty of the earth. Swahili is a language that is spoken all over Eastern and Central Africa. Dr. Karenga chose this language because he wanted African Americans to remember that the whole of Africa was their ancestral land, not just one country in Africa. Kwanzaa is based on many other first fruit celebrations in Africa, but Dr. Karenga created this one for Africans in America. Kwanzaa is based upon 7 principles or beliefs. We call these beliefs the Nguzo Saba. There is one principle for each day of Kwanzaa. Even though we celebrate Kwanzaa only once a year, we are supposed to keep the principles of the Nguzo Saba every day of our lives. So here we have the Kinara, and this looks like the shape of the African continent, and it says Kwanzaa very faintly here. The first day of Kwanzaa is called Umoja. That means unity. Only by having strong families and creating a community will African Americans be able to maintain unity. Unity meaning coming together as one. The second day is Kujichagulia. That means self-determination. People must stand up for themselves. They must tell others what they want. They must not let anyone else decide their future. Ujima is the third day. We must work together and help each other. We must take responsibility for our problems and the problems of those around us and help each other solve them. So every day is a different principle that they're celebrating. And so that's what each one of the candles represents, one of those days. The fourth day is Ujama. This means that we support African American businesses. The fifth day is Nia. Nia means purpose. African Americans must make it their purpose to maintain the dignity of their ancestors. It is important to maintain families, build communities, attend colleges, and open businesses. Their purpose must be to claim their rightful place in the world. Day 6 is Kuumba. This word means creativity. Our ancestors made music, danced, and created beautiful works of art. It is up to us to create our own art. We must work to make our community proud. In the evening of Kuumba, we celebrate the Karamu. Karamu is the great feast of Kwanzaa. So I think that had to do with the food that we saw earlier in the book. The last day of Kwanzaa is Imani. On this day, we celebrate ourselves. Imani means faith. We must have faith in our own beliefs and in our abilities. We must have faith in each other and our dreams for the future. Getting ready for Kwanzaa. The table. There are some special things that belong on the table at Kwanzaa time. One of those things is a straw mat we call a mkeka. The mkeka reminds us of our traditions. It is a place to start building our future. The mazao and muhindi belong on top of the mkeka. Mazao are fruits and vegetables. They stand for unity. They represent the rewards of working together. Muhindi are ears of corn. There should be one ear of corn for each child in the family. Children are the center of the Kwanzaa celebration. They represent our hopes for the future. The cup. At Kwanzaa time, we share a unity cup. We call this cup the kikombe cha umoja. Everyone takes a sip out of it. It stands for our togetherness or unity, the first principle of Nguzo Saba. So here are all those kids with their ears of corn. And I sincerely apologize if I am mispronouncing the words. They are, and I'll show you at the end of the book, it'll show you how to pronounce them, but they're still pretty tricky when you're saying them for the first time. So the kinara. We also use a kinara, a candle holder, at Kwanzaa time. So that's what this is. We call the 7 candles Mishuma Saba. They are red, green, and black. So we have red candles, 1, 2, 3. We have 1 black candle, and then we have 1, 2, 3 green candles. These are also the colors of the bandera. The bandera is the African American flag. It was originally created by Marcus Garvey, a revolutionary who worked for the welfare of the African Americans. The red is for the blood of the African people, the black is for the face of the African people, and the green is the hope for new life. There is a proper way to set up the kinara. As you face the kinara, 3 red candles should be on your right, 3 green candles on the left, and a black candle in the middle. We light a candle for each day of Kwanzaa. On the first day, we light the black one. So similar to Hanukkah, on the first day you light the middle candle. On the second day, we light the black one and a red one. On the third day, we light a black one, a red one, and a green one. We continue this pattern until Imani, when all the candles are lit. The kinara stands for the first African men and women. So on my kinara, I have all of the candles lit, which you would see on the last day of Kwanzaa. But I figured I would light them all today for story time. The celebration. There are many different ways to celebrate Kwanzaa. Many people start by asking, Habari gani? That means, what's the news? Then someone, usually a child, answers with the Nguzo Saba of the day. Then you light the candles. After you light the candles, you talk about the belief of the day. You might tell a folk tale, talk about a famous African American, or tell how the Ngozo Saba affects your life. It should be a time to share your thoughts. You can stay home with your family or find out what is going on in your community and join other people. After the candles and the sharing, people call Haramba. It means let's pull together. Food is a big part of the celebration. Every night of Kwanzaa, you can try dishes from places where the ancestors of African Americans lived. One night, you could have Zambian food. The next night, you could have food from the Sudan. Then you could try Ghanaian food. This is a good way to warm up for the big night. Karamu should be a great feast. On the night of Karamu, there are many ways to enjoy the feast. You could have a dinner party or go to an African restaurant. This is a night you share with many people. So that's, I would say that is definitely what's happening here. Karamu is a very special night. This is the night of the biggest party of Kwanzaa. One of the most important parts of Karamu is the food. There should be a lot of food. At the feast, there can be African and African American music, dances, art, and stories. You could also have speeches. It is a celebration of African American heritage. It is a time for people to tell others about themselves. It is a time to remember the people who have worked to make our lives better. It is a feast of the past and the present and our dreams for the future. Kwanzaa is a celebration that asks all of us to take care of each other and honor ourselves. It is a time for friends, family, food, and fun. So light the candles, fly the bendera, eat. Kwanzaa yenu iwe na heri. May your Kwanzaa be a happy one. And so here they are dancing to music. And here in the back we have a handful maybe I'll say, of different crafts that you can make at Kwanzaa time. And a recipe. And in the very back are all of the different words that I said and their pronunciations, all having to do with Kwanzaa. All right. And then we've got our back. All righty. So, to any and everyone that is celebrating Kwanzaa this year, may your Kwanzaa be a happy one. And if you know someone who's celebrating Kwanzaa, absolutely give them a call, video chat them, and wish them a happy Kwanzaa. And like they said in this book, the way that you wish someone a happy Kwanzaa is may your Kwanzaa be a happy one. So with that, everyone, I think it's time to sign off. All right, so goodbye, friends. Goodbye, friends. Goodbye, friends. It's time to say goodbye. Thanks so much for joining me, everyone. I will see you next week. Same time, same place. All right, bye.